The Iron Wolves Guild Hall stood heavy under an iron sky, but the tempest inside would break a man. Hundreds of hunters crowded the floor. Every eye hooked on Ren, who dragged Koki onto the platform like a broken trophy.
Koki, you lack potential. The deaths of our raiding team are on your head.
His orders killed them, and now I am the scapegoat.
Sarah clenched her bow and looked away, jaw tight. Jiro stared through his glasses, saying nothing. His silence judged no one and everyone. Ren ripped the Iron Wolves emblem from Koki's chest and flung it to the stone floor.
This isn't over.
Rain washed the alleys. A crumpled flyer showed the Black Spire, 80 years with no survivor, and the reward a new identity, a suicide run. But to a hunter with no guild, no name, and nothing left, it was a promise. The Black Spire, 80 years without a single survivor. Clear it, and the guild registry will grant a new identity.
They think I am dead already. Maybe I am. But if I clear it, I can be someone else.
At a shabby market stall, Koki bought the cheapest potions. No words exchanged. Only the clink of coin.
That raid. We had no potions left when the worm struck. Ren pulled the front line back too late. His mistake.
Across the capital, the Black Spire was a cursed name. People crossed streets to avoid its shadow. A hunter spat. No one returns from that pit. You are just feeding it. The entrance was a maw of black stone, red veins pulsing in the walls, stairs cut deep into the earth.
If I don't, I'll never have a name again. This is the only way.
Koki descended. The red glow swallowed his silhouette, and the air turned thick with ancient malice. Behind him, the stone door sealed with a dry grind. No exit, only forward. Crystal walls shimmered with sick red light. Mist crawled along the floor, carrying the scent of old blood. From the fog, 8 shadow wolves peeled into form, eyes empty, jaws dripping black smoke.
A pack, but they aren't coordinated. I've trained against worse.
Koki didn't retreat. He stepped into the swarm, greatsword carving black arcs through the mist. A minute later, the last wolf dissolved into smoke. Koki stood breathing hard, blade dripping. A glint stopped him. Bones lay scattered near a crystal, still wrapped in a faded Iron Wolf's jacket.
An Iron Wolf, here. How long ago? The emblem is ancient.
No other trace, no name, no journal. Only the emblem, half buried. He pressed onward.
How many of us died here before anyone even knew? I need to find out.
The red glow deepened. The question coiled around him as he moved deeper into the dark. Further in, among rubble, Koki spotted something, a desiccated hand still clutching a torn page. He knelt and pried the leather free. The ink was smeared, but the words written by an Iron Wolf still held their meaning. Day 218. The Master still fights. He trains the beasts so the guild can come. I fear we are already dead.
Train the beasts? There's a survivor. The old guild master. Could he still be alive?
He speaks of betrayal. He says they left him here. My wounds are too deep. I will not see him again.
Left him here. Ren said the old master vanished in a gate collapse 10 years ago. That was a lie.
Koki stared at the page, questions multiplying. 10 years, and a master still breathing in the dark.
If he's alive, I have to find him. He's the proof I need.
He pocketed the page and straightened, jaw set. The search had a new target. The dungeon was no longer just a trial. It became a rescue. The tunnel opened into a broad chamber, every surface webbed. Strands thick as rope hung from the ceiling, heavy with old prey.
Something big lives here. I need to tread carefully.
8 red eyes blinked open in the darkness. A giant spider dropped from above, legs like spears.
Too fast. I can't trade blows. I'll have to outsmart it.
He rolled under a scythe leg and slashed at a joint. Green ichor sprayed, but the leg still moved. A second leg drove into his ribs. Koki slammed into the wall, vision flashing white.
Potions will have to wait. I need to use the dungeon against it.
He kicked a loose stone and dove. The spider followed, onto a hidden trap plate. Spikes burst from the walls, pinning it. Koki pressed a hand to his side, breath hissing. But the stones ahead were scuffed. Someone had moved this way.
A trail. The old master. He's close.
Behind a pulsing crystal, the trail ended at a shallow crevice, too deliberate to be a crack, a hidden way.
Air moves differently here. Someone is inside.
The moment he squeezed through, a wild shape tore from the darkness, a spear aimed at his throat. Koki's greatsword met the blow with a scream of sparks. The attacker recoiled into the red glow.
That face, scarred and wild, but the eyes, they're not mindless. They're hunted.
Another son of Ren, sent to finish what he started.
The old man drove forward again, each strike unpolished yet savage, a decade of solitude in every blow.
I am not your enemy. Ren threw me out. He called me worthless.
Worthless. He only keeps dogs. Why would he cast one out?
Koki tore the last shred of his Iron Wolf's emblem free and held it up. The old master's crazed eyes flickered, a crack in the madness. The emblem hung in the red light, threadbare and unmistakable. The old man's breathing slowed.
That's an Iron Wolf's crest. It's old, but real.
He's seeing me now. Not an enemy, another betrayal.
Taro lowered his weapon, but his fingers stayed white-knuckled. A decade of distrust would not vanish with one gesture.
I was the guild master. Taro. Ren sealed me in here 10 years ago, left my body to rot.
The old master. I found a journal. It said you were still fighting.
Fighting? I've been training monsters to defend against Ren's hunters. But you, why come alone?
Ren expelled me, blamed me for his mistake. I am here to clear the dungeon and buy a new identity.
Clear it? Impossible. But you've made it to my door. That's not nothing.
In the dim camp beyond them, a dying fire still burned. The dungeon held its breath, and two exiles measured each other in the smoke.
10 years ago, Ren was my second. We entered this dungeon together, or so I believed.
A younger Taro had led the guild through its brightest years, respected, unbreakable. But in the depths, Ren drove a blade into his back, then sealed the entrance with the guild's own trap spells.
He left me to die, but I survived. The monsters here. I made them my shield.
Ren's pattern, same as the raid. Sacrifice the team, keep his hands clean.
He killed my family to bury loose ends. The guild thinks I vanished, but you are the first to prove me right.
3 days ago, he blamed me for a raid that his orders destroyed, tore my emblem off in front of everyone.
Then we share a debt and a target.
Taro reached out, gripping Koki's arm with a strength that spoke of 10 years of waiting. The campfire crackled low, but between them, a new heat had kindled. They would leave this place together. Taro scraped together dried rations from a hidden cache. In the dungeon's dead air, the simple meal felt like a contract.
The boss chamber lies beyond 3 more gates. I've trained the guardians, but they'll still attack any intruder, even me.
I didn't come this far to stop at a gate. We'll go together and cut through.
Alone, you'd be overwhelmed. With me, we might just break the pattern. But I can't fight like I used to.
He's a shadow of the old master, but his knowledge is worth more than a sword arm. If you can keep the beasts from swarming, I can handle the boss. Then we both walk out with the proof.
Proof. That SS crystal will buy you a new life, and me a chance to face Ren while he still draws breath.
They spit on their palms and clasped. No guild seal, no ceremony. Just 2 men with nothing left to lose.
We move now, before the dungeon shifts again. Stay close. I'll show you the path.
The map was a promise carved in stone. The way ahead was steeped in red light and silence, but now they walked it together. They crept through a corridor so tight the crystal walls seemed to breathe. Taro's hand never left the stone. He read the dungeon like a blind man reads a face.
Pressure plate, 2 paces ahead. Step where I step. Exactly. Exactly.
A spray of spikes shot from the wall as Taro triggered the plate with his spear. Then he froze, muttering to shadows that weren't there.
He's slipping again. A minute ago, he was a master. Now he's fighting ghosts.
Taro shook his head, the haze clearing. Forgive me, the dungeon plays tricks on a tired mind. He pressed forward, Voice clipped.
Next chamber is trapped with petrification dust. Hold your breath until I seal the vents.
They passed through a haze of glittering gray. When Koki gasped clean air again, Taro was already at the far side, trembling, but the path opened into a vast, yawning darkness. Heat radiated from the stone underfoot. Taro pointed.
There, beyond that gate, the beast that's kept me company for a decade.
Through the mist, two eyes burned, redder than the crystal glow, older than the dungeon itself. They had arrived. The horned beast rose from its mound of bones, the ground trembling under its weight. A low roar shook the chamber.
Taro, now.
Taro thrust his spear into the ground. Glowing runes crawled across the floor, chains of light shooting toward the beast's limbs. Koki sprinted along the rune path, greatsword carving upward. The blade bit into the creature's neck as the chains pulled it down.
The core, strike when its chest glows.
The beast thrashed, shattering one chain. A wild claw swept through the runes, and Taro. He flew back, hitting the wall with a sickening crunch.
Taro, he's not moving. The chains are failing. I am on my own now.
The remaining chains snapped. The beast turned its full rage on the lone fighter, eyes flaring like dying suns. Koki raised his blade, blood running from old wounds. There was no plan now, only the next strike. The beast lunged low, leaving its neck exposed for one breath. Koki caught the opening and surged forward.
The core, it is exposed. This is my only shot.
He leaped from a fallen bone. Great sword aimed like a falling star, all his weight behind the blade. The blade sheared through the neck. The horned head spun free, black blood spraying, and the chamber fell silent. A golden crystal rose from the beast's shattered chest, pulsing with SS-Rank light. Proof of the solo clear.
The certification, but Taro, I need to reach him.
Koki stumbled to the wall, forcing a potion between Taro's lips. The old master's breath steadied into a weak rasp.
You cleared it. The boy Ren called worthless brought down the beast.
A deep groan tore through the chamber. Cracks snaked across the walls. The boss's death was collapsing the dungeon.
We have the crystal and the head. Now move. I will not let this place bury us after everything.
The walls groaned and split as they sprinted through the dark. Koki half-carried Taro, the beast's head dragging behind them.
Stay on your feet, old man. The stairs, there.
A thick stone door crumbled inward as Koki kicked it open. Daylight poured in, blind and burning after the endless red. They spilled onto the stone ramp as the entrance sealed behind them with a grinding crash. The black spire was no more.
10 years. I never thought I'd breathe open air again.
He's barely holding on. The capital is a full day away. I'll have to carry him part of the way. We can't stay here. Ren will send people once news spreads. We move now, slow and steady.
Taro leaned on Koki's shoulder, his steps uneven but determined. The old master's eyes, for the first time, held a steady flame. The capital's distant towers caught the morning sun. 2 exiles, 1 head, 1 crystal, and a truth the guild was not ready to face. But the question that followed them was no longer survival. It was justice. By the time they reached the capital gate, dusk had settled. The guard's jaw dropped at the sight of the blood-stained horned head.
Let us through. I'll pay whatever fee. We have business with the Iron Wolves Guild.
The guard stumbled aside. Koki guided Taro to a shadowed alcove near the guild hall, out of sight of the main doors.
Wait here. I'll walk in first with the head and the crystal. When Ren starts spinning his lies, that's when you step out.
You are trusting me with your only chance at a new life. Don't let me fail you now.
If I can't make them listen, none of this matters. The head won't speak, but Taro will.
Koki hoisted the horned skull under one arm and straightened his torn jacket. Then he walked toward the guild hall alone. The same heavy doors that had closed behind him days ago now awaited a different entrance. He pushed them open. The hall fell silent. 100 faces turned, and Koki dropped the beast's head on the stone floor. With a wet thud, the horned skull bled dark onto the stones. Silence stretched tight. Then Ren's voice sliced through it.
You sneak back with a trophy you bought or stole. That proves nothing.
I cleared the Black Spire. The dungeon is gone. This head is my proof.
He raised the SS crystal. Gold light spilled across stunned faces. A wave of whispers swept the hall.
Lies. No one clears that dungeon alone. You found a dead boss, or you had help.
The registry will accept the crystal. Unless you want to explain why you called me worthless, and I succeeded where every team before me died.
Sarah's bow clattered to the floor. Jiro's knuckles were white on his staff. The hall trembled on a knife's edge.
You were expelled for incompetence. Whatever you bring here is tainted.
Then why are you shaking, Ren? The truth doesn't need your permission to stand.
Ren's jaw locked. For one still heartbeat, the hall held its breath, waiting for the next blow. Koki pulled a blood-stained page from his jacket, the same journal he had found beside a skeleton in the dark.
An iron wolf wrote this inside the Black Spire. It says a master still fights. Your master, the one Ren swore was dead.
The crowd rippled, a tide of whispers sweeping toward the platform. Sarah pushed through the bodies, her face pinched.
A survivor. The old master was declared dead 10 years ago. How could he still be alive?
Jiro adjusted his glasses with a shaking hand. His silence had never been this loud.
I heard rumors years ago. Ren said they were baseless. I chose not to look.
Enough. That scrap could mean anything. You are twisting stories to cover your own failures.
Then, why did your raid team die? Ren? Ask Sarah. Ask Jiro. They were there. They saw who gave the order.
Sarah's bow slipped from her fingers. Jiro's staff lowered. Their faces told a story words could not undo. The hall fractured into a storm of voices. Ren's rule was no longer absolute, and he knew it. Koki raised his voice over the din, demanding silence. The hall quieted not from respect, but shock at his newfound authority.
I didn't clear that dungeon alone. The man you abandoned walked out beside me.
He turned toward the shadowed alcove and gestured. A figure stirred in the darkness.
10 years, and not one of you came looking.
The scarred, gaunt old master walked into the torchlight. Gasps broke the silence like stones on glass. Ren's face drained of color. His hand flew to his rapier, but his fingers trembled too much to grip it.
I am Taro, the master you buried, and I am here to speak the truth.
Sarah sank to her knees. Jiro's glasses fogged. The guild, the whole guild, stood paralyzed. Ren's voice came out as a choke.
This is a trick. An imposter.
Ren drove a blade into my back in this very dungeon. He sealed me inside with trap spells, left my family slaughtered.
Ren's lips moved, but no sound came. The truth was a noose tightening in plain sight.
He killed my family to bury loose ends. Then he took this guild and called himself master, on my blood.
The raid. He gave us the same order. Pull back and leave Koki to die.
I stayed silent. I knew the pattern matched, and I did nothing.
You are all fools. I made this guild strong. I did what no one else could.
His hand flashed toward his rapier, but a wall of hunters shifted, shoulders and blades blocking his path.
You will answer for every life you stole. No more lies, no more running.
The hall erupted. Iron wolves surged toward Ren, their own master now a stranger. He stumbled backward against the stone, but even as the circle tightened, Ren's eyes darted, searching for a crack. The cornered rat had one escape left. Ren's hand dove into his coat. Before anyone could react, he hurled a glass sphere to the stones. White light swallowed the hall. Hunters screamed, clawing at their eyes. The world burned to a sheet of brightness.
He's running. I can't see. Damn it.
The spots dissolved just as the back door slammed open. Ren's white coat was a ghost disappearing into the alley.
He'll make for the outer districts. Seal the gates. Don't let him vanish twice.
The guild hunters surged after him, but the alleys were a maze of shadow and old stone. Ren's silhouette shrank against the torchlight, coat flapping like a wounded bird. The night swallowed him whole.
He slipped through. After everything, he still escaped. but he's finished here.
The iron silence that followed was heavier than any shout. A guild without a head, a truth without a cage. The hunt would go on, but tonight the Iron Wolves had only their shame and the echo of a fleeing master. As the last shouts faded, the guild members drew back, shamefaced. Koki stood in the center, Taro at his side.
Koki, I watched him blame you and said nothing. I am not asking for friendship, just a chance to make it right.
I stayed silent. I knew the raid was Ren's fault. This emblem, it should never have been taken from you.
He held out a fresh Iron Wolves emblem, the silver thread still gleaming. Koki's hand stayed at his side.
They failed you, Koki, but they followed a liar. If you take that emblem back, do it for the guild it can become, not the one it was.
A new emblem, a new name. But I walked into that dungeon for a reason, and it wasn't to return here.
We don't deserve you, but the Iron Wolves need a master who won't stab them in the back. Will you even consider it?
All eyes fixed on Koki. The greatsword on his back was heavier than any emblem.
They'd follow me now. But would I be any different from Ren if I took what I didn't earn?
The emblem hung between them unanswered. Koki's jaw tightened. The choice was not yet made.
I am not the master you need. The guild has to rebuild itself, without a scapegoat or a savior.
He pressed Jiro's hand closed around the emblem. The silver wolf vanished inside the mage's fingers.
You didn't just clear a dungeon. You gave an old man back his name. That's a debt I'll never stop repaying.
Just live, old master. That's enough.
Koki turned. The crowd parted without a word. A corridor of silent hunters leading to the great doors. No one called him back. No one begged. They had learned too late that some wounds are not healed by apologies. Taro stood alone before the great Iron Wolves banner. His reflection fractured in the old silver. A new morning light bled through the high windows. The guild was broken, but breathing. The doors swung shut behind Koki with a low groan. The street stretched empty before him. His greatsword caught the first rays of sun, a silhouette against the dawn, walking away from everything he had been. By sunset, Koki stood on a high ridge west of the capital. Below, the city shrank to a map of lanterns and memory. He had no guild, no emblem, and no score left to settle. Only the greatsword still heavy on his back. He drove the blade into the earth. The curved black sword caught the dying light, planted like a marker.
A new name, no guild, a solo hunter.
The smirk that touched his lips was tired and earned. The kind that doesn't need an audience. He'd walked into the Black Spire with nothing but a blacklisted name, and walked out, owning his own future. The capital spread beneath him, its towers softening in the gold haze. The guild hall was just another rooftop. The dungeon was dead. The guild would wake. But Koki was something else now, something still being written. The greatsword stood alone against the sunset, a black line between earth and sky. And Koki, with the last light on his scarred skin, turned his back on the capital and walked into the coming dark, free.